Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report / closing bell for Tuesday, February 28, 2023. As I said in the first two shows, the last day of February, that's it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Welcome March in. With open arms, that means spring is that much closer. And what's spring bring? I don't know. Selection Sunday, Conference Championship Week, March Madness, the start of MLB, the Masters, the Kentucky Derby, NBA, NHL playoffs. Oh, I forgot the WBC in less than 2 weeks. Hell yes, bring on damn March. And with that, let's bring on our co-host from the south side of Chicago, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. What is up, Riley?
What is up, my friend? I hope you can hear me. It's I think I'm a little slow on my end. Hopefully it's figuring itself out over here. But March is upon us. Absolutely. It is maybe my favorite month of the sports calendar. So I am locked and loaded. Got a couple of low-level conference tournaments kicking off last night and a few more today and on through the week. So it is a beautiful time to be alive for college basketball fans, but also you mentioned a handful of other stuff that's coming up over the next month or two here that is absolutely fantastic in its own right. You mentioned the Masters coming up in the next 2 weeks of golf. We got two really solid tournaments these next 2 weeks that I'm excited for. So plenty to be excited about, my friend. But as always, happy to be back for a new week here, getting ready to talk some action.
You know, it's kind of funny that, you go back to August, September. Actually, I'll take it even to October. All the preseason books come out. And listen, it's like anything else. You're going to hit some, you're going to miss some, and you're going to be messer on some. And the people pointing the fingers, oh, you said this team was going to be great. Oh, you said this team's going to suck. And you get egg on your face. It happens, okay? But I have to say, in your neck of the woods, the preseason darling in the Big Ten is rising to the top, and I'm talking Indiana Hoosiers.
And I wish we talked about them ahead of the weekend against Purdue. I wish I had pounced on Indiana. I wasn't. It wasn't a spot where I was confident enough. But taking numbers aside and looking at data aside, and Purdue at home stuff aside, I was interested in Indiana just because they are. A different team than they were at the beginning of the year. Now Purdue is, obviously things have caught up to them a little bit. Still a very, very good team. But, that was you and I talked about it. That was the team we were buying. I don't know when that was, but when they were probably at their lowest moment of the season. And if you've been paying attention to the Big Ten, maybe it's been a lot of teams that you can pick off as far as time to turn things around. We can go back through it if we had to. But, Indiana is honestly the team that's probably given me the most confidence to make a deep run in the tournament right now. There's a couple, teams that are Jekyll and Hyde that if things go the right way for them, they could as well. But that's been the most consistent team over the last month and a half in the Big Ten right now, and one of the most in the conference, I'd say, outside of maybe the top 3-5 teams in the country right now.
And it's funny because, I talked to Julian today. I talked to Pops today. I did some talking with colleagues yesterday, and I broke down the top 5. And I'm in on Houston. You know that. I'm in UCLA. You know that. I can't wrap my head around Kansas. I can't wrap my head around Purdue, okay? But I'm also in on Alabama. But, again, without turning this into a Brandon Miller soap opera hour.
Right.
I have mixed emotions, so I'm kind of backing off. But with the Kansas, I can buy them, but I lean Baylor for some reason. I don't know if it's the guard play. I don't know what it is, but I lean Baylor there. Like I have backups. Alabama, no one's hotter right now. No one wants to play Kentucky. All right. The Vols,
Right.
who cares? Alabama, who cares? No one wants to play Kentucky right now. But my UConn team, as I said earlier today with Jules, again, they're back into the November form, 14-0, number 2 in the country. But I will tell you this, 444 on February 28th, I think they're peaking again, and they're going to peak all the way to win the Big East tournament. And then, as I said earlier, I'm afraid there's a New Mexico State lurking in the wind somewhere.
Yeah, and not to go back to in the Big Ten, but maybe if you're Purdue, you're hoping they've got another peak coming and they can get it going at the right perfect time. But at the end of the day, what they rely on Zach Edey a little too much. But yeah, I really want to like Alabama, but I think they're a really good team. But again, not to turn it into Brandon Miller, but the kid is nails as far as on the basketball court. I mean, the closest comparison on the basketball court to Kevin Durant that I've seen since we've seen Kevin Durant. Honestly, not saying he is, but you know what I mean. But if they can obviously avoid him missing time for what's going on and they can stay consistent, they've got as good a shot as anybody. And I'm with you on Kansas, but at the end of the day, you could see them, if they get their best ball going at the right time, you could see them, kind of grinding their way through it. But I'm with you. I really like Baylor. Last night, the line looked a little goofy, and then I ultimately stayed away from it because of how much I like Baylor right now, honestly. And then I think the one team in the top 10 that we're not giving credit to, and I kind of agree with it, and, maybe they can go on a run, but Marquette is the number 6 team in the country right now, and that obviously could surprise a lot of people there, and probably will be that team where you would like it if they were the underdog 5-6 seed in the tournament as opposed to the 2 or 3 whatever they'll be there. And then I still kind of like Arizona as well, but I do like UCLA more if we're talking comparing them to who's in their own conference there. And then I do still like Texas, honestly. I'm curious. I'm less confident in a 5-game run in the tournament, but I think they could at the same time go on a 2-3 game run, beat anybody, and maybe they have one rough game there. So I am very interested to see it. The one team that is always a tough team to call that I'm curious to see what they look like in the tournament is Virginia, who was way up there for a large part of the season. This season now is a little bit, maybe on the 3, 4, 5 line. But if they can kind of get back into their best form and, cause problems on the defensive end for, just about anybody, that's definitely a sleeper team right there. The only team that I really respect, I think, out of the ACC right now.
And I said this, I'm going to just say everyone watching, we got a nice crowd and view watching and listening. Thank you guys. If you haven't subscribed, run over to YouTube. Just hit the subscribe button at East Coast Sports and Messages. It's free. That's all I ask. And that's all we ask, actually. I think when we're sitting there watching Selection Sunday and we got our brackets and everyone does a half dozen, I think the first weekend there's going to be a lot of brackets blown up. Okay. Then the second weekend, maybe the first part, the Thursday, Friday again, a couple more of those, sleeper Cinderellas. But I think when we come standing to the Elite 8 and the Final 4, you're going to be staring at, 2 1s, a 2 and a 3, or 3 1s and a 3. I just think that's how it's going to shake up. And, obviously there's always one of these, you think back to the number 9s, a Kent or something crazy out of the woodwork. I'll tell you this, go on TikTok and all these so-called experts that are barely shaving right now. Look out for Oral Roberts. Look out for Oral Roberts and all these little teams,
It's almost impossible to predict. I sometimes have some good luck with a 12 or 13 seed predicting the initial first day upset. You're not going to find a single person who was talking about St. Peter's at this time last year, for goodness sake. And obviously they make the run that they do. And I absolutely get what you're saying. But yeah, I think I kind of totally agree with you. And the Big Ten scares me because they could be an embarrassment and 8 teams lose on the first weekend, or they could have if Wisconsin squeezes in one of these classic Wisconsin Sweet 16 runs or something like that, and they knock off one of these big boys at the top or something along those lines. But at the end of the day, we're getting closer. And what is it? A week from Sunday is Selection Sunday, right?
Something like that, yeah. And by the way, I was just
or maybe
trying
2
to
weeks.
2 weeks. I was trying to play back our Big Ten show on Friday. You saw the smile on Ohio State. Remember that? I said it was an Ohio State. And the funny thing is some of my numbers were 2, 3, 4 points off. And so the number was a lot larger with Illinois, but Ohio State boxed the wire. One little run by Illinois. You had a feeling in that second half you were right there, but I think you just had too big of a lead to come back there. We talked about Penn State. There was a couple other games over the weekend. I thought you and I were pretty spot on.
Yeah, and you had the Michigan-Wisconsin game. Anyone that had Wisconsin is obviously that was a tough break for the buzz leader there. And that both those teams are right on the bubble. Obviously, that one. Would that have secured anything for Wisconsin? No, but it certainly would have helped. And maybe if they could have locked down a win or two, they'd be good. You probably got to go. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on what they have the rest of the week here, but probably still need 2 or 3 more wins for Wisconsin to get in there. And now Michigan kind of sets themselves up if they can go on a nice little run to get in there. So, and then Saturday, the Indiana game, the Iowa comeback from out of the jaws of defeat. I mean, goodness gracious, that one is probably maybe the second craziest comeback of the year, aside from that Texas Tech Iowa State game. Honestly, off the top of my head, so that one's wild. And then we've got a couple tonight. Not so much, good games for sure. Nothing that's going to no major bubble implications necessarily. A couple good games though, but we'll obviously get there when we get there.
Yeah. Quickly, it's funny. You had Pops on this afternoon, and you know what? I know it's kind of tongue in cheek and the next man up. I get all that, okay? But when you lose your shortstop, Trey Turner, you lose Cody Bellinger. I get that part. You lose a couple pitchers, and next thing you know, Gavin Lux now out for the year, and these injuries are starting to pile up. The Japanese team in the WBC and the Cubs, Suzuki now out. These injuries aren't. I guess it's better now than in the beginning or middle of the season. But are you keeping your eyes open? And I'm starting to get these eerie feelings like, who's next? Who's getting hurt now?
Yeah, and the other guy they didn't mention, obviously a guy that's been recovering from injuries also, but Glasnow with the Rays, out a couple months, it looks like as well. That one, I mean, that's if he can come back healthy, that's a major piece for them, obviously there. So it does kind of feel like that, and obviously with the WBC, hopefully, knock on wood, we get get through that as clean as possible. Just about every team's got at least a couple guys on that. Are on rosters as far as I know. I know my White Sox got a handful of guys scattered around there. So, yeah, I haven't been paying attention to, the individual games that have been going on, but obviously still keeping up with news. And, maybe we'll I'm still as a White Sox guy hoping we can find some, piece together fifth starter or fifth or sixth option here for our starting rotation. So, obviously still keeping my nose to the grindstone or ear to the grindstone on that one.
Yeah, and good point on Glasnow. I was talking to my buddy yesterday, and I sent him the snapshot. I was like, listen, first of all, I've talked to Scott. We've done some shows on Tuesday and Thursday night. We should be doing one tonight. The 1-2 punch of Glasnow and McClanahan, you can put up 1-2 versus anyone. Now with him coming back from injury, and a pitcher especially, I don't want to hear anything about a bleak. It's just a huge, huge dig now. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be a 2-horse race between the Jays and the Yanks, but I'm going to say right now, it looks like a 2-horse race right now in the East with the Jays and the Yanks.
Yeah, I mean, injuries is definitely what's going to keep the Rays from contending. Obviously, right? They're always a team that when you least expect them to, they're still the next thing you know they've got 92 wins. But I agree with you. I mean, if they can't keep those guys healthy, then just pitching in that division is going to be a pain in the ass as far as that is concerned there. So, and you should have a hungry Jays team to finally climb into that upper echelon of contenders there, and obviously the Yankees are as hungry as ever, so or should be as hungry as ever. You never know until we get there, but you know what I mean there. So, no, I'm with you on the Rays there. They've got they've got a hill to climb for sure there.
All right, board everywhere. You got 3, 6, 9, 10 NBAs. We got a full slate of college, wherever you want to go. The ball is in your court, sir.
All right, I like starting with the college basketball, so let's pop on over there. Might be switching back and forth just to make sure, in case we got any tournament games, just to note which games are actually tournament games there. So, I think the first one up, Sun Belt champ, first round of the Sun Belt there. So if you don't like anything with that one, we can skip right past it. But Arkansas State 12-19, Coastal Carolina 11-19, 2.5s. Seems like a lot of these early round going to yesterday and today, these early rounds are listed pretty close to a pick 'em there. Any thoughts on this one at all?
I was looking at this. Nothing stood out. That's all I can say, honestly, is I know for a fact Coastal Carolina is bad. Okay, so if they're 2.5 point favorites, Arkansas State only can be worse in my eyes, which I find hard to believe.
That's kind of what it seems like. And Coastal coming in like 3 or 4 losses in a row. So, we could breeze right past that one. But I'm with you on that one. Going to the Big East now. Next game up, 5:30 my time, 6:30 your time. Marquette 8.5 at Butler with a 141.5, 140.5 there. Marquette 4 wins in a row. Butler just got a win over the weekend, I think, or maybe middle of last week against DePaul on the road. Other than that, they've been a little bit better. They've got a nice couple wins at home here. Any respect to Butler at home, or would you like this one to be maybe closer to 5 or 6 if you were respecting Butler, or is this enough single digits to make you interested in Butler at home here?
Whenever we start to anoint these teams, they always seem to lay an egg. And Butler is your classic Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, they beat DePaul at DePaul by 1. They had just lost at home by 6 to Georgetown. They lost by 12 at Villanova. They had beaten St. John's and Xavier. I assume it's senior night, last home game. Then they go to Xavier. What I would suggest to anyone that wants to scratch an itch is grab some Butler first half. I assume you're getting 4, 4.5, maybe 5. And
4.5.
Maybe you can get a good first half out of them. Senior night. I assume Fox has got this one on. It's at 6:30. Maybe the crowd gets fired up. Maybe Brad Stevens makes an appearance. I don't know, but they just have not been a good team.
No, they have not, and I haven't even tried to touch them, if I'm being honest. They have those games at home where, you get the magic going, and they you either win the game or keep this one close, but I have no idea. So moving on to the Big Ten, both these two teams, obviously Indiana is more than safe right now. Iowa, especially after the win over the weekend, I mean, they're listed as a projected 8 seed right now, so they should be about fine. I'm seeing 5.5, 6 on the spread in that one, and that one is that one's at Indiana. 155.5, 156 is the total. Iowa obviously playing up that total a lot. Indiana kind of can get up there if they have to, but that's definitely more of an Iowa total. Last game 91-89 at Iowa. Iowa's 1.5 point favorite. Interested to see what the public perception of these teams are right now. Indiana looks like getting a decent amount of the public money there, so I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. I guess I like Iowa to keep it close, but I honestly don't know what to expect after the Iowa win over the weekend.
We had on the desk, it was almost a play. We had over 155.5 minus 120, bought the hook. Yes, they scored 180 points the last time. Our ECSI number was 159.5. Our Ken Palm number was 162. I think our Kenny White number was around 161. Indiana is playing great ball. Listen, Iowa pulled the biggest horseshoe out of their ass. They were down 13 with 1:30 to go, and it was just comical. Even our little Twitter timeline got a little comical there on Saturday. You know, sometimes you can ride that emotion. And you know what? We don't talk enough about it. Hey, that was a hell of a comeback, Iowa. It wasn't better than Caitlin on Sunday. Caitlin with a second and a half from three, swish, walk off.
Yeah.
That was better than your win. So
that
put
was.
it up your. But I think the game goes over. I mean, I lean Indiana to win. Nothing would surprise me here. You know, again, I think Indiana now feeling a little confident, flexing. And if they flex too hard and keep looking in the mirror, it's where Iowa could come out 8 from 9 from 3, and then the Hoosiers don't know what hit them.
Right, and I think Indiana wins, but I really don't know. I mean, this Iowa team sometimes can be so hard to predict, and unless you've got a number that's either screaming to take them or bet against them, then it's really hard to predict. So Indiana, after this over the weekend, they finished with at home, I think, against Michigan, who they'll obviously want to get up for, but they've got plenty of time to get ready for that. And Iowa goes to or hosts Nebraska. Sorry, so nothing crazy to look at there. So I'll say Indiana gets a win there. Let's see, a few games in the ACC that are pretty good. Clemson and Virginia. Virginia minus 6.5. 130.5, 129.5 for a total in a couple different spots there. First game between these two teams right now, or this season, excuse me. Virginia lost their last two, 48-63 at BC, ugly one, 63-71, ugly one at UNC. And Clemson's got 2 wins in a row against Syracuse and at NC State. Respecting the number on this one with a 6.5 with a low total. Respect the number there for Virginia to get back on track.
Yeah, I actually had an overnight number of 7 with a 132.5. Again, that I think this game will tiptoe over the number. I respect the 7 with Virginia, and I'm going to give props where it's due. Looks like, we talk about how well Kentucky has woken up. Well, keep an eye on that Carolina blue all of a sudden. Yeah. They seem to... they knew they're like a tea bag, they only get working when they're in hot water. They did it last year during the ACC tournament. They're trying to do it a couple games before. I think Virginia gets a good game today. I think they cover the number. Again, we had 7 overnight. And keep an eye on that under-over. Right now it's circa 131. I'm seeing some 130s.5. If you can get it at a 130.5 by the hook at 130, I think it tiptoes over. But I think Virginia covers the 6 or 6.5 as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. And this is a big one for Clemson on the bubble. If they can get this one, then, that probably puts them on the right side. And barring a collapse against Notre Dame and then a quick exit in the ACC, that might be what they need to get in. So, but at the end of the day, I think this is a great spot for Virginia to get back on track. But Clemson, hats off to Clemson, what they did early in the season, but obviously haven't been the same these last few weeks here. So, NC State Duke also 6.5. Duke at home 6.5 over NC State here. 145 is the total I'm seeing there. Duke playing really well right now. 4 straight wins. Hasn't been the toughest of schedules. A nice win over the weekend against Virginia Tech. The other 3 home for Notre Dame, 12-point favorites at Syracuse, and home for Louisville there. NC State coming off of a loss to Clemson. By your face, are you interested in the Wolf Pack here at the Cameron Indoor Center here?
If I told you our overnight number was 4 with a 144, now 6.5, I'd tell everyone to run to the window, buy the hook, take NC State up to +7, sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on the Wolfpack. Yes, Duke playing great. Okay, you're buying an inflated number. The actual true number is 4. It's 6.5 when we buy the hook. We're catching the Wolfpack plus the 7. Nice number on the money night. Listen, I wouldn't be shocked if Duke wins by 1, 2, or 3. Maybe it lands on 4, but yeah, the value definitely is on the Wolfpack tonight.
Yeah, no, I like it, and NC State's been a team that can come into this building and get a win every now and then. A lot of times get them at home, but every now and then they can get a win at Duke there. And after giving up 96 points to Clemson over the weekend at home, they will probably be looking for a big bounce back there. So I like what you're thinking with that one there. How about Florida and Georgia? If you don't like it, we can breeze right past it. Both these teams have been pretty annoying to a lot of people here. 14-15 Florida at 16-13 Georgia. Georgia is the underdog at home in this one. Are you respecting Florida as a favorite, or is this a big stinker and you're moving right past it?
Well, I had an overnight number at 2. It's 2 now. There's 1. It's a couple spots. 2 underachieving teams. I didn't think Georgia was going to be that good this year. I didn't think Florida was going to be this bad. They had flashes. I think it's one of these, hey, we're going to put Florida as the favorite. Let's see who bites on which side. They're probably not getting much action on either side. Listen, I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia ran them out of the building. I really wouldn't. I think Florida has mailed it in. Maybe they get hot during the SEC tournament. I doubt it, but it will be NIT, CIB, or golf for the Gators right now.
Yep, they've been pretty damn annoying to me. I've dipped my toe in a couple times and it has not worked. And I think maybe I'm 1-1 with Georgia or something like that. But at the end of the day, these two teams have been these two teams have been a little too annoying for me to jump into. How about we've talked about these two teams. We don't talk about the A-10 much, but St. Louis going to VCU. VCU -6 with a 145.5. St. Louis playing a little bit better after a little bit of a lull. They've won 3 of their last 4. A win against Davidson at home, a win against Duquesne at home, loss at Richmond, win at home against Loyola, and you got VCU 4 straight wins. The common thread to what I said was St. Louis on the road, not quite winning games. You respected VCU at home here, or think this is time for some regression for them?
I had a 5.5 of the 143, 6 across the Vegas Strip, 140 right now at Circa. I liked St. Louis earlier this year. VCU is the better team right now. I wouldn't run to the window. I slightest of all slight lean with the Billikens and St. Louis plus the 6. I think it's a competitive game. And I think the numbers kind of sort of spot on. If VCU gets out early, they could run the Billikens right out of the building. But I'm looking for somewhat of an effort here from St. Louis. I just think the number's just a tad too high on the VCU side.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. And a lot of people probably seeing the home success for VCU and road lack of success for St. Louis. But I like both these teams, but I do like St. Louis to keep it a little closer than that for sure there. So moving on to, I think, the later games here. 7:30 my time, 8:30 your time. The other second Big East game here on Fox Sports 1. Villanova -1.5 at Seton Hall. 15-14 Villanova at 16-13 Seton Hall. 1.5 for the road Villanova. 130.5 is the total on that one. Villanova's won 4 of their last 5. They're finally playing better. Seton Hall's lost 4 of their last 5. Would you like this one to be a bigger number favored for Villanova, or are you respecting the fact that Villanova's favored at all here?
My overnight number is 1. Seton Hall was favored with a 129. We got the classic flip with Nova now at 1.5. All Nova fans, alum, are breathing a sigh of relief. We knew no Jay Wright. There would be some early learning curves and woes here. No one's going to fill Jay's shoes right away. No one will ever fill Jay's shoes anyway.
Right.
But I think from a mind standpoint, if anyone watching and listening here had Seton Hall, was it last week at this time against Xavier? Was it who they played? It was same number, same bat station. I think it was a 6:30 game, and Xavier boat raced them. They were up 20 at a blink of an eye. So if you were the guys having Seton Hall against Xavier, get your ass back to the window and grab the Pirates tonight to split it up first half full game. I'm just saying I had them favored by 1. I leaned them against Xavier. I didn't know what Xavier team was going to show up. It was a must-win, and I don't like to use the must-win. I like to say a sense of urgency should have been had, and I expect that tonight from the Hall. Grab some first half and grab some full game. I'm not buying the flip. I'm going to stand tall and sink with the pirate ship. How's that?
No, I like it, and especially when you've got, if they had both been going back and forth the last week and a half here and have been alternating wins each of them the last week, I would probably respect it. But the fact that Villanova's finally rattling off some wins here, and Hall's obviously skidding a little bit, I would have liked to see Villanova favored by a little bit more than this. So I'm with you, especially, and then tying it into the Xavier game, 100%. I am with you on that one. Moving into the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock window, Texas Tech at Kansas. 8.5, 9 is the spread at Kansas. Texas Tech at Kansas. Texas Tech finally they did lose over the weekend, but before that they had been finally rattling off some wins after an ugly start to their conference season. Kansas, obviously a nice win streak right now. They just played West Virginia at home to a 9.5-point spread. I had West Virginia the other day. I've had Texas Tech in a lot of different spots here, so I'm going to lean towards Texas Tech, but I'm going to take my single-digit spread against a lesser opponent the other day at Allen Fieldhouse and take my money and run, but I will lean Texas Tech today.
I had a 10.5 with a 146. Ken Palm has it 78-68, so they're on the 10 number themselves. 8.5 right now at Circa. There are 8s. There are even a 9 in one spot, so it's bouncing around, shop around. I don't know what it is. I'll probably come Selection Sunday when I finally see the brackets. I'll bow down. I'll kiss the ring. Kansas is going to the Final Four. I'm just waiting. I'm just not buying yet. But I don't like this Texas Tech team at all. I think they're living on the last few years' laurels. Should Kansas win by double digits? Of course they should. Will they? Probably not. It'll probably be 10-3 at Texas Tech at the buzzer lands on 7. How's that sound?
I think I'm with you. I would like it a little more. I would like Texas Tech a little bit more if the total was a little bit lower, but their offense has been scoring as compared to when they were losing games. So I'm with you. Like I said, I had West Virginia the other day on a single-digit spread here at Kansas, so I'll take that one against Kansas and run with it. But I am with you. This Texas Tech team has obviously been ugly. Now it feels like the spot where after they won 4-5 in a row that despite the loss the other day, probably could be a spot where they put together a couple ugly ones here back on the schedule there. So I'm staying away from that one. Arkansas at Tennessee, ESPN 2, 8 my time, 9 your time. Tennessee minus 5.5 with a 134.5. Arkansas obviously been all over the place. Just lost to Alabama over the weekend. Before that, had beaten Florida and Georgia at home. Tennessee finally bounces back over the weekend after a rough stretch. 85-45 win at home against South Carolina. Now a 5.5. It was okay. Sorry, this is the first game between these two teams. Almost exactly a year ago. Tennessee hosting Arkansas as 5.5-point favorites, gets the 4-point win last year. I don't know. Are you thinking that's what we're going to see again here tonight? Something similar, right around that 5.5, or do you respect maybe? I don't know. I could see this game going a million different ways. I have not had any feel for either of these two teams. I'll kick it over to you. I always like this Arkansas team, but as we've talked about, they're all over the map. So what are you seeing with this one?
We talked a couple of weeks ago about buying low on Arkansas. I think 30, 35 to 1. Some people reached out to me. They even got almost 40 to 1. I like this Arkansas team. I do. Tennessee was reeling. I think our buddy Tyler Wyatt put up under Rick Barnes when the Vols are 20 points or more favorites. They're like a bazillion and one, and they won by 40. Ken Palm has it 70-63. And I actually had a 7 with a 134. People are coming in buying the hogs at 5.5. I guess I'll tell you the way I'd like to do this. Did they give you a 69.5 number for the Vols team total?
I see 70.5.
Rats. I like them to get to 70 or better tonight. And then people would say, well, 70 and a half's not. I could see it landing on 70. I could see 70, 60 all day here. That's my point. If you can get a 69 and a half anywhere, guys, I like the Vols to score 70 or more tonight. That's what I do.
Fair enough. No, I like it. I can't add too much else. I don't know what to do with this one. I would lean under, but I would like it if it was a little bit lower. But obviously Arkansas can push the pace a little bit. So I think Tennessee wins, but I really don't know what to expect. This team could, maybe they hold Arkansas to 63 points, but they, can't hit more than 20% from the field. But I'm with you. I think they get to 70. It's just obviously it's been a headache to try and figure this team out here. So,
and I'm just going to say this. With what's going on in Alabama and now all the hoopla on Kentucky. Now, listen, 10 days ago, when we're talking about potential futures and buy lows, that's the hardest part. We remember what we saw last. In the sports market, they allow you to buy low. So no one was running to the window when Kentucky had lost 4 out of 5 and looked like ass. Right. And they were 30-1, I think. No, and they were not even in the tournament, or they were last out. Now everyone's running to the window. The SEC title goes through Kentucky. No shit, Sherlock. Okay, but you missed the window. So my point is, as bad as Tennessee has looked of late, everyone talking Kentucky, everyone talking Bama. This is my time to dip back into the futures market and take a look at the Vols. And every book is different. Sometimes you can get them to get to the Final Four. Sometimes you just got to buy them to win it all, and then you got to hope they get there and we can hedge out of it. But again, guys, try to train your eyes on buying low. You buy low and you sell high. We're not running to the window right now and buying Alabama. We're not buying Kentucky. Actually, do you have anything in front of you on Kentucky, what they are right now to cut the nets down or Final Four?
45-1 for the for national champion on the, at least where I'm looking right now. 45-1, and then 10-1 plus 1,000 for Final Four.
All right, guys, that's still fine. I take a 45-1 just in case. Are they going to cut the nets down? No, probably not. 10-1 at the Final Four. It'd be interesting to see them at that 8-9 and then playing a 1. Well, now they're not going to be an 8-9. Maybe they're a 6. I don't know where they're going to be right now, but 45-1 and 10-1 is well worth some pizza and beer money, guys. You want to build that portfolio, all right? Buying the values. And just remember this, guys. At the end of the day on that Monday, there's only one winner and 363 losing tickets. There's only one, but you'll have millions of opportunities to cash out and guarantee yourself some profit.
Yep. And there's going to be, there's really good teams, but there's going to be, whether it's Kentucky or another random, I'm not calling Kentucky random, obviously, but there's going to be some teams that aren't in that top 5 picture right now that are probably going to be in the Final Four, or a team, I should say, probably in that Final Four. So I'm with you 100% on Kentucky. I see 11-1 on this other spot here. As compared to, I am UNC 12-1. Comparing them, I credit to UNC for bouncing back the way they have. Don't feel the same quite about them. I think the ceiling is maybe second weekend for them. I don't see them getting through 2 or 3, top 3 seeded teams or something like that. But at the end of the day, I one of those 2 teams is probably going to make a nice run, and probably both of them will be in the tournament there.
And don't forget, North Carolina lost to Kansas, and North Carolina brought back most of the troops. So as hard as it is to wrap myself around Kansas, I haven't wrapped my head around North Carolina once. And it's like just maybe, but the price, would you say the price is on them right now?
I just saw 12-1 to get to the Final Four. I can double check what the championship winner, 60-1 for the championship.
Yeah.
I just don't trust the ACC as much. I like what did I say? Yeah, Virginia or Miami a lot more than UNC. If UNC was in another conference, I think they would have gotten steamrolled a little more this year.
Speaking about, hey, first of all, happy birthday to TJ. You're probably eating your cake
Yes.
or playing around the golf. Happy number 32 there. Second of all, how dare I didn't bring up the fact that the Hurricanes are up 25 on Saturday against Florida State. They forgot to show up in the second half. And Florida State came back and beat them outright. Shame on you, TJ.
That was ugly. And that hopefully that's a wake up call, and as opposed to the beginning of the end. But yeah, that one was ugly. That hopefully they can recover from that. I don't know when they play next. Maybe it's I want to say Thursday, if not, maybe even Saturday or anyways. That one was ugly. Then that one was an ugly one. Any faith in them? Do you like them at all going into the tournament? Not to pile on if you don't.
No. I saw them a handful of years ago at Providence when they hosted the regionals last. Duke was there. Wichita State was there. Yale was there. Baylor was there. And they came out. They went 2-0 that weekend. I think they're a very good first weekend team. The problem with them is I don't have a lot of faith in them going long. In other words, they're good as a small dog or being a dog. I don't want to see them in a high leverage spot, 6.5 point favorites or any. I don't trust them that far, but I think they can go 2-0 on the first weekend, get to the Sweet 16, and then we'll see what the matchup. They'll be a dog, I would assume, the rest of the way.
Sure. All right, a few more games here. Going back to the Big Ten, Michigan State at Nebraska. 4.5 here for the Cornhuskers at home with a 138, 139.5. Or excuse me, 138.5, 139. Michigan State obviously just lost in the heartbreaker of all heartbreakers the other day. Nebraska rattling off 4 straight wins. Home for Wisconsin, at Rutgers, home against Maryland, and then home over the weekend against Minnesota. A nice 11-point win there. Michigan State's taking care of business in this matchup the last handful of times. A lot of people obviously respected Michigan State this time of year and curious to see what they do after the bounce back. But maybe it's time for some Nebraska regression. But this is a pretty small number that I would have liked to see a lot larger if I was interested in Michigan State here.
Our overnight number was a 3. With a 133.5. It's been pumped up to 139, even 139.5 in a few spots, up to a 4.5. Listen, you want to talk about emotions. Obviously, the tragedy on campus for the kids and the Spartans, and obviously the Saturday loss at Iowa. Those are 2 roller coasters of emotions. I would not even hint about playing this game. Listen, I'm rooting for Michigan State. I want to see him go far. I love Izzo. I respect the hell out of him. I just, this is a perfect spot for Nebraska to say, hey, listen, we got no respect all year. And people, we're knocking off teams better than you, Tom, and we'll show you here. But I could see the Spartans winning by 10. I could see them losing by 15.
Yeah, and if you go back and had the chance to redo Nebraska early in the season and maybe the first month of the Big Ten season, we might be talking about them as a tournament team the way they've been playing the last couple of months here. So, the total was honestly surprising to me. A lot of these Michigan State games, whenever they've been under, they've been 135 or lower. Nebraska's been going over the last handful of games, so maybe time for some regression there, but. Maybe it's spot on, but not an easy underplay for me on this one by any means.
Well, you nailed it. And great job on your part, because the overnight number was 133.5. That was a Michigan State number. The corrected number's now 139.5, which is a Nebraska number. Yeah. So they're kind of telling you, hey guys, overnight we liked Michigan State and the under. But the numbers now are saying the public's still on Michigan State, but the total is a Nebraska number.
Yep. Yeah, well, like you said, it's one that I'm definitely not playing. Staying far away from it, but it's going to be one I'm interested to see how it plays out here. So, one more, and then I'll see if you've got anything else to sprinkle in with some of these smaller games. A&M, Texas A&M at Mississippi. Ole Miss 5.5 on the road here at Ole Miss. Mississippi just won at home against LSU, ending a nice long losing streak there. A&M the opposite, just lost at Mississippi State after a nice little winning streak there. This is the only game these two teams have played this season. Mississippi, not certainly not a good team, but not quite as bad as their record would suggest, as far as I remember. I haven't looked at them in a while here. 115 on KenPom now. I guess that is dropping a little bit. They were a little bit higher than that, but anyways, feeling like this is a Mississippi number here at home, or no faith in the old running Rebels there?
We had Mississippi State on Saturday. We cashed that one. My question to you, maybe you can help me out here. Correct me if I'm wrong. During the middle of the week, did Mississippi fire the head coach?
Honestly, I don't know. That you might be accurate with that. I can double check, but I'm honestly not positive about that.
See if you can double check. I thought I saw an Ole Miss coach get fired.
That sounds actually somebody fired their coach, and I think you're right. That was yep. I believe you are correct with this one. Yeah. Yeah, they've Kermit Davis. They fired Kermit Davis. Now I see a report. Ole Miss is vetting Chris Beard after firing Kermit Davis.
Is this the first game with the interim coach?
I want to say, did they play on over the weekend? I can't remember if they just made this move or if this was. Let's see. They beat LSU on Saturday. Kermit Davis. Let's see.
Because they beat LSU over the weekend by 13 on Saturday. So if they fired the coach in the middle of the week, then that was the spot on Saturday. You know, the old fired coach, good, he's out of the building, and of course they won.
No, it was before the LSU game. It was before the LSU game.
I mean, it's a perfect bounce back spot for A&M. It's senior day for Ole Miss. It would be like them to go after Chris Beard, of course. Might as well bring Lane Kiffin back and have a tea party and all that good stuff there. The number's spot on. You know what? A&M had been playing some great ball too. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say this. Ole Miss has not won 2 in a row since November 24th and 25th against Stanford and Siena. They won a game on the 10th against Valpo, one on the 17th against Temple, and then a month later, South Carolina, then 3 weeks later, Georgia, and then 2 weeks later, LSU. They can't win 2 in a row. We know that.
All right.
And haven't lost 2 in a row since December 17th and the 20th. And they're at home against Bama on Saturday too. They could be peaking. I'll say A&M gets the win by 6.
6. I'll say Ole Miss covers. I'll say it comes down to it. I like this A&M team, but I don't know. Obviously it took us 5 minutes to determine if they just fired their coach or not, but maybe they're a different team with that. I'm not touching it, but I'll go on record giving my lean towards Ole Miss covering. Like you said, obviously they haven't won 2 in a row in how long, but I'll say they cover. How about that? And then maybe it stays under. I'll say cover and under.
I agree, sir. I agree.
All right. Any of these other small ones? Any tournament games? Anything else aside from the ones we just talked about?
I'll just up, and the internet's not that great, so I gotta sit down here. On 50 minutes deep, and you guys have been strong. I think the game of the night, other than Arkansas, Tennessee, maybe the upset of NC State and Duke. Yeah, I said that is San Diego State and Boise State. Ken Palm's got Boise State 67-66. We have Boise State won with a 132.5. It's up to 135.5. Now, Ken Palm's got Boise State 26, San Diego State 16th. Pull San Diego State's resume for a second. They haven't lost since January 31st. That was at Nevada. They beat Boise State by 20. And they got a home game against Wyoming on Saturday. So they're 3-5. Boise State 27. Haven't lost 2 in a row since December 22nd and 28th. Santa Clara, Nevada. Coming off a loss to San Jose State in OT. They play at Utah State on Saturday. I did lean San Diego State here, but lost by 20, haven't lost 2 in a row. If you can find a cheap money line on Boise State, grab them in the first half and then play them in the full game. I did lean San Diego to do it. This Boise State team at home, senior night, haven't lost 2 in a row since December. Look for them in a nice bounce back spot here.
Fair enough. I can dig it. I can dig it for sure. Moving over to the NBA, we can cruise through it pretty quickly. A couple of TNT games and then plenty of other games as well. I will have as soon as we get off the show, I'm going to post my Bulls blog for the day today, player prop on that one, so stay tuned for that one. 2-0 after the All-Star break for my Bulls. The Pat Bev effect apparently is real, but you and I have talked about this Toronto team a lot as one of these teams that should be, and it took a little bit of time. They haven't cracked 500 yet, but 7-3, I think their last 10 going back before the All-Star break. I think they're 2-1 outside of the All-Star break. 5-point favorites at home against my Bulls here. So tough to crack. Obviously, if you're looking at the Bulls all season long, they have those type of 2 games that they just had, and then get complacent and think they're the greatest team of all time, and then fall on their face. But and that's kind of where I'm leaning towards tonight, honestly. But I kind of say that Pat Bev effect tongue in cheek, but it seemed like the team is just needed some type of new face in the locker room to get under their skin, and maybe it'll take a while before that becomes negative as opposed to positive here. So I don't know what to expect out of this one, Jeff. I hope my Bulls can get it done. But you and I have are starting to get proven right about this Raptors team. They're looking a lot better. I don't know what their ceiling is, but they certainly should be a playoff team, or at least a play-in team. They're in the 9th seed right now. But this is a big one as far as the standings in the play-in are concerned. 219.5 after what the Bulls have done defensively the last 2 games. 131-87, so a lot of points, obviously, but held the Nets to 87, and then 102-82. This one and those 2 games were 222, 223. The 219 doesn't seem like far enough of a drop if the Bulls are going to do the same type of thing defensively. So I was kind of leaning towards the over on this one. What would you say about that?
Well, you can answer your own question. Is Toronto's team total at 112?
It is 112.5.
Because I got it right now at 112, 107. I think your eyes are spot on. I think it gets over the 2. I had 219.5. So, I would lean over here. I think Toronto probably goes over the 112, and probably your Bulls also get over. I assume your Bulls are at 107 and a hook or 106.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
107.
I'd go over on all 3 of those.
Okay. Fair enough. This is a third matchup. They played November 6th and 7th, home and home. I was at the one in Chicago, obviously, Toronto gets an easy win at home. Bulls get a fairly easy win at their home. So should be a good matchup. These games are usually pretty solid. Lakers and Grizzlies on TNT. No LeBron, obviously out a few weeks now, who per Shams miraculously played through his foot injury. His words, not mine. Miraculous feat of strength there. So Lakers 29-13 32 at the 36-23 Grizzlies. Not trying to get in front of an injury like that. Obviously, it wouldn't surprise us, as we've seen all season long, the Lakers to put up a fight here and potentially even win this game. They've been playing well, obviously, with LeBron, but playing well. Grizzlies have been going back and forth here, even before the All-Star break there. So any thoughts aside from staying away due to the injury here? Wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers win.
You know what? I think AD, the way he's been playing, might put the team on their shoulders. Vanderbilt and the rest of the crew's playing with a different emotion. They're before the injury, I thought that the Lakers weren't going to just get into the playing game. I think they were going to sneak into the 7 or 8 spot. I like what I had been seeing. I don't know how long this injury is going to be. Now they're going to be leaning more on AD. My thoughts on running to the window. Either side on injuries, we stay away. It's a popcorn and beer game for us. A 232 with an 8, which is now 231 with a 9. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yep. This next one, a little stinky in my eyes here. Milwaukee at Brooklyn. Brooklyn has lost each of their last 2 outside of the All-Star break. 87-131 to my Bulls, 127-129 the other day to Atlanta. Milwaukee playing really, really well right now. Looks like Giannis is probable as far as what I see. Maybe that's bad information, and that's why we see this line here. But as long as Giannis is in and this line is right at 6.5, this one's a little stinky in my eyes here.
Yeah, I get Giannis is probable and Simmons is doubtful. Overnight number of 4 with a 231, 6.5 and 230.5. The Bucks, winners of 14 in a row, and the Celtics losing last night are now the 1 seed. The whole world's ending back here in Boston. The refs screwed them. How dare them eject Tatum? Well, the fact that you started the game 1 for 15 from 3 and 8 for 40 from the game, keep launching. Just keep launching. Sooner or later, they're going to have to fall in. I think the Nets are sneaky. I know it's 14 in a row. I don't care who's playing for the Nets. Wouldn't be shocked to see the Nets beat them outright. And then I'm going to the game tomorrow, Celtics and Cavaliers. My buddy Kevin, season ticket holder, has me clearing the desk, and we got some photo op with the team before or after. So you got the bell tomorrow if you have time. I'll give us a live remote at some point from the Garden. I'll be interested. I'll be rooting for the Cavs. How's that sound?
There you go. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see where you're at, where you're posted up at for that one. So, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested in the Nets, but they've obviously been a little all over the place there so far. So, moving on down. How about this one? These two teams just played. Was that 2 days ago? Kings and Thunder. Yeah, 2 days ago. Kings as 4-point favorites, win by 9 at OKC. Now at OKC again here, and it's down to 3.5. This Thunder team, I mean, we've obviously, you and I have both. It seems like you and I have different success with them at different times than each other somehow, which has been funny because they've been a really profitable team on the spread there. But I don't know. Any interest in the Thunder here to end this nice little streak the Kings got going on? Because I'm definitely interested. This team's a lot better than people realize. Whenever you turn them on, you're typically pleasantly surprised to see what this Thunder team has up their sleeve.
What was the final score last time they played?
They just played on Sunday night, and it was 124-115 Kings, and it was in OKC as well.
And that's 239. My overnight number today was 238. That's comical. With a 2.5, I would take OKC. I'd buy the hook. I'd take them plus 3.5. Sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on them on the money line. Stay away from the total. It's down to 234.5 at the circa. They're betting under. They're betting Sacramento. So that means bet OKC and bet the over. But I'll stay away from the over-under. The value is on the over 234 or 234.5. I like the Thunder here.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you on this one. Last I checked, as far as injuries are concerned, not sure if there's anything to report there. Fox is questionable, but I see him projected to be in the lineup there. No Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, which makes this one, last I checked at least, which makes this one, the spread dropping after the 9-point loss, even more interesting here.
No, I agree.
All righty there. Let's see. 4 games after that. Dallas hosting the Pacers, 9-point spread. This Dallas team obviously not playing all that well after the trade. They've lost 4 of their last 5. After the All-Star break, beat San Antonio pretty handily, and then just lost to the Lakers on Sunday night. Pacers won before the All-Star break, a win over my Bulls. Lost at home against your Celtics, and then went to Orlando on Saturday and got the win there. 9-point spread. Feeling confident with that spread for the Mavericks after the Pacers have kind of righted things a little bit?
I had a 7 with a 236.5. Now 9 with a 237.5. Again, I like Dallas to bounce back and win. Unfortunately, if you're going to play them tonight, you're buying an inflated number. The actual number is 7, so you're buying 9. If you're going to put together a couple money line parlays tonight for action, scratching itches, I would use Dallas as one of them. I just don't like buying into inflated numbers, but I like Dallas to win the game tonight.
Yep, I am definitely with you on that one. Let's see here. Another 2 teams that a little tougher to crack. Going back to, obviously that last one wasn't 2 teams playing each other. Spurs and Jazz just played each other Saturday night. Jazz 10.5-point favorites at home. Got the win by 16. Now they are 9.5-point favorites here again at home against the Spurs. Any love for the Spurs in this one tonight, or is this Spurs obviously in the tankathon? A little too hard to predict at most times here.
What was the final score?
The other day it was 118 to 102. Jazz as 10.5-point favorites.
All right, so that adds up to 220. I got a 236. I'll take the over 236 tonight.
Fair enough. Yeah, 241 the other day. Obviously stayed way under. No, I definitely can pick up what you're putting down there. Even the Spurs, even when they're losing by 20, they're sometimes putting up 120. So, yeah, their offense isn't always the problem there. It's their defense that is pretty horrendous there. So, a couple more late ones. The other TNT, Minnesota at L.A. Clippers. Clippers minus 6.5. I believe we've got Westbrook in, Paul George in, Kawhi in. And for the Wolves, Gobert is in, Anthony Edwards is in. It looks like everyone's fine there. Minnesota not playing that well right now. Lost 4 of their last 5 going back before the All-Star break. Lost 2 so far outside of the All-Star break. Clippers also 2 straight losses out of the All-Star break. The crazy, I don't know how many overtimes it went to. 175, 176 game against the Kings, first one out. And then lost a couple days later to the Nuggets. Offense is working fine. Feel good about this Clippers team tonight?
They were the 3rd leg of our 3-team action parlay on Sunday. We got the Penguins in, money line and puck line. We had over in the – which game was it on Sunday? Cincinnati, Memphis, and we lost by a bucket there. And then we had the Clippers plus the spread and money line, and they lose an OT at Denver. I again, like I said with Dallas, I like the Clippers in a bounce back spot. I had 6.5 with 233. It's now 6.5 with a 232.5. I'm not in love with the number. I could see them winning. Let me see. 233. I could see them winning, 118, 114 or something like that. So yeah. I like them to win. Again, if you guys are playing moneyline parlays, but I don't like the number.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm glad you closed it out like that. Portland and Golden State's the last one. Portland plus 5 at Golden State. After again, I hate doing this because I love the guy who's one of my favorite players, but inexcusable. Gets the rest day after the All-Star break, and then against the Kings, and then drops 71 the other day. And that's about as comical as it gets right there. They get the win the other day, the Blazers do, with Damian Lillard dropping 71. Golden State, though, 2 wins outside of the 2-1. Sorry, they've had 3 games outside of the All-Star break. Loss at Lakers, and then wins at home against Houston and Minnesota. Here at home, still playing well, not doing well on the road. Obviously, the Warriors here, 24-7 straight up at home. Any respect to the Warriors here? A lot of people, obviously, I'm sure, probably doubling down on another Damian Lillard performance tonight. Do you like the Warriors tonight at home?
Well, isn't Clay coming off 41, or did he have another game after the 41?
That I'm not honestly remembering. I did not see that, if I'm being totally honest, over the weekend.
I think this past weekend, and maybe I was wrong, that I thought he had a game with 41. He had a boatload of threes. I think a lot of people are playing the Warriors at home and they're fading them on the road. But I'll just say this, buyer beware. I had an overnight number of 4.5 with a 236. It's now 5 with a 235.5. Basic math to me puts this game 120, 160. All right, so you'll be the true test here. They're telling me 120 to 116. So what is the Golden State team total? 120 and a hook?
120 and a hook to either 115 and a hook or 116 and a hook. Do your line shopping if you're interested in there.
So if you want Golden State tonight, do you want to lay the 4.5, 5? Or do you want them to get to 121 or better? I mean, people are looking at me like I got 28 heads. Guys, I don't have the team totals in front of me. It's right up here. It's called basic math. And if you want to learn what I'm talking about, DM me. Go to EC Sports Investor. Send me an email at eastcoastsportsinvestor@gmail.com. What you need to do, guys, is simple. You take your opening numbers, you take your closing numbers, and just do basic math, and then figure out the team totals. And then go back to your site and see if they're off by a point and a half. That's called doing your homework and being sharp. And it's called not being lazy. Yeah, that's my sermon.
There's your preach. I love it. No, this one, I'm not touching this one. This one would be one if I'm up late tonight watching this one and I'm trying to scratch an itch. I mean, for me, this is just a fun popcorn over bet as far as I'm concerned with points in this one with these two teams. So I won't be doing that tonight, but that is all I do on that one. So that is all I've got, my friend. Anything else to mention on tonight's slate?
All right, grab your pens and paper. I'll do some quick hockey for everyone, and then we'll call it a day here. Fun kind of comical last night, but come on, Cletus. Detroit at Ottawa. Ottawa's like 8-1 the last 9 against Detroit, yet they were 135 overnight. They're 121. So I lean Red Wings plus 111. I'm not going to give you their team total over 2.5 because it's minus 165. But again, Red Wings plus 111 looks like the lean there. Florida and the Tampa overnight number. Tampa was 170. They're now 159. There was only one way that number could go is down. If you want to get into this game, the only way I could see possibly fit is taking the Florida team total over 3.5. You can get that plus 135 there. Buffalo, Columbus is nothing to get into there. Pittsburgh, Nashville. If you like the Pittsburgh side, the overnight number was 125. It's skyrocketed to 137 now. Don't play the 137. If you like Pittsburgh, play the team total over 3.5. You can get that at plus 115. Seattle and St. Louis is real interesting to me. Seattle overnight number minus 153. It's down to 146. Again, I don't want you to play the minus 146 if you like Seattle. The under over is 6. Go take Seattle team total over 3.5. You can get that plus 110. LA and Winnipeg. Again, this is a funny one to me. Winnipeg is 7 or 8-1 their last 9 against the Kings. The overnight number is 135. It's down to 132. I think the Kings plus the 121 is the sneaky side. If you want to eat some chalk, the team total for the Kings is 2.5 over minus 138. I think they get to 3 or better today. Nothing on Islanders, Minnesota, nothing on Chicago. Bruins and Calgary. Listen, the Bruins are the best damn team in hockey right now. There's no way around it. If you really want to get cute here, you can do a couple things. Bruins team total over 3.5 plus 145. That's one thing. Overnight number was 120 minus 125. Now they're 126. They just won last night at Edmonton. Now they're on a back-to-back. My eyes tell me it's a Calgary side. All right. So if you want to take Calgary tonight plus the 115, I don't have a problem with it. Just that the Bruins have won like a bazillion in a row. I think it's 7. So keep an eye on that one. Calgary, 2.5 over on their team totals, minus 145. Again, too chalky for me, but I think they get to 3. Last but not least, Montreal at San Jose. Here's a funny thing. Montreal, I just wanted to say this in closing. Montreal, 25-30. The Sharks, 18-30. Yet the Sharks overnight were minus 150. I just telling you that Vegas kind of leans the Sharks here tonight. Minus 159 at Circa. Again, I'm not going to tell you to play a minus 159. Team total 3.5 plus 100. I think they get to 4 or better there. Closing thoughts, sir.
Closing thoughts. We'll wrap it up quick. As far as hockey, my guy Patrick Kane to the Rangers. A bittersweet. I mean, not really sweet. It is the end of an era for sure. Hopefully, the dawn of a new era if we can, navigate the tankathon here and hopefully have some great pieces coming back. 3 cups, a 1 Conn Smythe. I mean, the guy was, absolutely nails. I mean, him and Days will have a statue in the United Center at some point here, let alone his number retired. So I am a temporary New York Rangers fan the rest of the way. I'll be rooting for them. I've got my I don't know what their number was. I don't care if it was a bad number. It's just for some entertainment so I can get locked into the playoffs. Got my Ranger ticket. So we'll be revisiting some other teams to add to that at some point and garner that up. But gotta give it up. Been there for about 15 years, and he's been the man for us, and he's been the showtime for sure there. So that's all I got there. And then as soon as we're done here, probably going straight over and get my Bulls blog for tonight uploaded. And then I've got my picks ready. Don't know if it'll be out tonight or tomorrow for the Arnold Palmer Invitational, my golf blog. So that is all I've got, my friend. Take it away.
For me, I got to confirm if me and Scott are coming on in 1 hour. Hey, shout out to Dennis Fisher. God damn it, Dennis. Love you to death. He just gave us the thumbs up. Great podcast. Dennis, 1480 Old Falmouth Road, Timmy's old place. 3 big screen TVs, Golden Tee, NFL Blitz, NBA Jam on the way. Get your ass over here. Much appreciated. Tomorrow, up in the air as we speak. I will be on Ron's podcast from LA. He's closing out his last 2 teams. He wants me to talk Philadelphia Eagles. I already did the Patriots with him, so I'm going to take care of that there. Not sure what's going on in the morning, so I might be doing some stuff with you, just talking after the show here on that. Again, I'm going to confirm I might be on in 1 hour with Scott talking baseball. If not, we'll be back on Thursday at 9 p.m. A lot going on. Got a couple potential debuts. College baseball show potentially on Friday. And I got to confirm a couple other things. So big things brewing here. Keep your eyes and ears to the window. ECSI could be, let's say, partnering with a big-time app, big-time player in our streets sooner than later. Still, we'll just keep it there, but we're gonna have some fun with it. And again, shout out to Dennis. God, I love him. I grew up with Dennis. I am gonna date myself right now. Used to go to his house and play in television, and him and his brother actually had written playbooks for the football. And they'd have all their 2, 4, 7, 8. They knew the outside guys would go 5 steps and curl in, and then we would play Tyson, knockout, and then played some baseball, some wiffle ball. Oh my God, I grew up there. And the amazing part was this: as kids, this is when kids were kids. That's what you did during the day. You got your ass home at 5 o'clock for dinner. from 5 to 5:30. You went back over there, and as soon as the street light came on, your ass had to get home within 8 minutes, or you got the wooden spoon. Trust me. So, anyways, great stuff. Shout out to everyone watching and listening. Can't thank you guys enough. Without you guys, there's no ECSI. And again, one more shout out to my man Dennis, Mr. PB. Thank you for joining and listening. Everyone else, it's been a hoot. It really has. Hopefully, I'll be back at 7. If not, we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. So, any questions, comments, concerns? Just reach one of us on our timeline at EC Sports Invest at Riley _Magnuson, the one. And everyone have a blessed evening, and we'll see you soon.